Howdy, this is Mackenzie Franklin from SideGame LLC here in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and today we're going to be doing the Guess the Board game based on the reviews. So we're going to have some 1-star and 10-star reviews from the Board Game Geek Top 100, and it's up to you to try to figure out what these games are. This is the 5th in the series, and I believe there are no repeats. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the first one. Now the first one here, our 1-star review from Joel and Becker. Sorry, but a 3-hour game with random player elimination is a clear 1 out of 10, no matter how overproduced and stuffed with miniatures it is. Could have been a really cool game, but it is crap. And then 1-star review here from Slicker Drips. I wouldn't normally bother, but there are 12 more rounds left, and this has passed a couple of turns. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the 10 stars here. This is from Enavico. So cinematic, full of exciting and super funny moments, scales really well, climatic, tense, ending, wonderful materials. The objective choice moment is such a great twist for a semi-co-op game. Quite on the long side. It's weird, the player elimination is generally deprecable, but here it's good somehow, since it adds a lot of thrill and sense of urgency. Huge amount of luck involved, but well, it's part of the movie. And then the negative here, I would have appreciated more hidden objectives to add further variety. So we have some negatives, some positives, time being a big issue for some people. And that being said, any guesses? 3, 2, 1. The game is Nemesis, the board game, where you play as crew of the Nemesis, doing your best to survive these nasty intruders, these aliens, while trying to complete your personal objectives. So it's semi-co-op in nature, so you really don't know who to trust, who to actually put your faith in, and who's chosen a more malicious objective. So there's a lot to love here, as you saw in the positives, but also some negatives that could make this a deal breaker for you. For me, it's an experience that I think is extremely worthwhile, one that I really enjoy, particularly because of the thematic nature of it and the stories that it tells from turn 1. So amazing game in my opinion. That is Nemesis. Up next for our 1-star review, we have from Nemo G. Hated the game. As if you get a certain card in round 1, you won the game no matter what. Not well balanced. And then Bevatron says lots of luck, especially when you get forced to pick a card, which reveals so many goodies for your opponents. Very interesting. And then we'll go to the 10-star reviews. This is Monster Mimi. Clever, multiple avenues to victory, and every card feels significant. And Batch of Ammo says, easy to learn, quick to play, but maintains a ton of both tactical and strategic decisions. The perfect 2-player game. So some big hints there. Any guesses as to what this one is? 3, 2, 1. This is Seven Wonders Duel, a card drafting game of creating civilizations. It's a head-to-head game with 2 alternate win conditions or a giant point scoring match at the very end. Now, I think that the 10-star review really nailed it here, saying that every card feels significant. Your choices are huge in this game. Do you keep it? Do you go for cash for flexibility in the future? Or do you use that ability of that card to set you up for future turns? I love the choices here. I love the changing of the progress tokens, making the games feel fresh and different each game, and I love those alternate win conditions because they really do put stress on you to maybe you put some force into those, or maybe you back up, something to be aware of. You've got lots of options when you play this game, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. So Seven Wonders Duel, fantastic game, definitely one that we recommend over here at SideGame. The next game here, the 1-star review here from Morabito. Good looking game, but it's pure garbage. Way too expensive for what it is. So a big emphasis on the price, but not so much detail in the gameplay. But let's inversely look at the 10-star review from Pyrist. So far, it's a very easy to get into game. Think of baby's first Lord of the Rings LCG difficulty and make it easier. And the free flow nature of your turns is really nice. I'm glad the game isn't clogged up with multiple phases that are really structured. Any ideas on here? This was a pretty solid hint here if you're familiar. And this game's going to be 3, 2, 1, Marvel Champions, the card game. This has you playing as a Marvel superhero, getting a team together and doing your best to, on a scenario-based mission, defeat a villain in time before they complete their scheme. Now you're going to do this with a hand of cards that all have different power icons that you use as costs for other cards, and so every turn you have to kind of piece and manage your cards in your hand to get out upgrades, allies, and eventually take down the enemy. It's no secret that I love this game. Marvel Champions has been on the top of my list now for a while, and it's a game that I just continue to love. The heroes all feel different, the new cards, the fantastic way that you can jump into a game and just play. That scenario-driven format is so well done. The deck building is easy to get into and one that you can really have fun exploring with. The scenarios are fun and challenging. You can scale up and down the difficulty as you see fit. It plays well with multiple players, and it's just such a blast to run this cooperative engine. But my favorite thing about this has to do with that price thing is you don't have to buy everything. This is a cooperative LCG, so there's no meta that you're chasing. You're buying the things that you want to try at your own pace, and it's up to you how you want to play this game. I really love that about the cooperative LCG system as a whole, and I think that this one nails it the best in not only the gameplay, but also the model. Fantastic game, Marvel Champions. Up next, we have for our 1-star review from Kite Eating Tree, the whole prison thing blows, feels tacked on, and ruins the game. And Egg Timer here says, terribly boring game in which you irritate your friends. Interesting. All right. And then our 10-star review from Welkarin. I thoroughly enjoy this innovation on worker placement. The mechanics and theme mesh seamlessly. Everything makes thematic sense apart from its contribution to game mechanics. From the virtue system to the capture action, it all blends beautifully. I also love how temptation works. You keep making grander and grander plans, thinking that maybe this time you can do everything, even though you should focus on 1 or 2 scoring areas. The game also plays wonderfully with only 2, even without the expansions and without adding the AI player. So a lot of praise, very well thought out comment here. Really appreciate this, Welkarin. But is this going to help you guess what this game is? 3, 2, 1. This is Architects of the West Kingdom. Architects of the West Kingdom is a worker placement game where you get cumulative actions. When you place a worker on a place, you get 1 of that resource. When you put another, you get 2 of that resource. The more workers you have, the more you get back. And this is that temptation they were talking about, where you can arrest other players. Now, one really interesting comment that I saw here that would have given it away because it mentioned in the comment was that the system itself of the prison system is an auto lose if somebody arrests your characters. And I think that's really interesting. I'd really love to dive into that more, that the best strategy in this game is to just simply never arrest somebody. And you know, the more I think about it, the more I myself, when I play this game, I don't really focus on arresting people. I generally let other people round up my people for me and then go pick them up over at the tower later. Now that being said, I think that with the newest expansion, the Works of Wonder, as well as the Artisans expansion, I think they really help solve this problem because money is a lot more important because you can build those adornments for your building cards, and those are very, very strong and they require a lot of money. So arresting becomes a little bit more powerful there because you're able to scoop up lots of cash for a single action. So I'm curious what you think. Do you think that the arrest action is underpowered, or do you think it's very necessary, particularly with the new expansions? So I'd love to hear what you think on this. So that is Architects of the West Kingdom. Now our next 1-star review comes from Joshua Starr. Way too many options on your turn. Great components and idea, but a bit overwhelming to play. So very clear onto why they dislike this game. And let's go ahead and jump to the 10-star review from Houdini24. This is a great puzzle style game. Amazing 2-player game. Good, not great, and higher player counts. Interesting comment, and sometimes this is true for some heavy games. Too many options can lead to a lot of AP, and I think that's definitely the case in this game. Now, that being said, is this going to help you actually figure out what the answer is? 3, 2, 1. This is 5 Tribes, a game of Mancala style where you pick up a group of tribesmen, you'll drop them onto the board, and then wherever you land, you'll pick up that group of characters and trigger the effect on the board as well. So you have lots of different factors going on. Are you going to take a group of specific colors to trigger their effect, or are you more focused on the board? You have lots of choices here when it comes to the abilities of the Djinns, when it comes to the abilities of the Meeples. There's just lots of stuff that's happening all at the same time, and I can understand this can definitely be overwhelming. And I definitely agree with both these opinions that this definitely can be a nightmare when it comes to overthinking. There's so much to do, so many options, so much planning that you can do, and I think that having that in a game like this can really bog down the experience, particularly when playing with more than 2. Now the 2-player game is particularly cool as well because you get to take more actions every round, so you'll get 2 pawns instead of 1, and that means that you can even do combo turns, which is pretty sweet. So I really like this system. It's such a fun game to play. I really like the way 5 Tribes feels, especially when it's at a quick pace. So that is 5 Tribes. And those are our 5 games, our Guess the Board game based on the reviews. How many did you get? Which did you get stuck on? What things did you guess? I'd love to hear what you think and what you said in the comments below. But thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. But thank you again. SideGame Strong.